Hey everybody and welcome back to Trucking Sounds. Today we've got Aaron's lovely Scania R-Series V8 here in behind me, and it's in for more than our standard fit system, just like the Scania in the last video. It's having a very similar system, but there are a few things different as obviously it's an R-Series. So if you're excited to find out exactly what we're going to do, make sure you stick around, give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so you can be the first to find out when we upload videos just like this, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Without further ado, let's waste no time. So I've already cracked on and removed both door cards, amps making a start on the subwoofer and amp build inside the lockers, but I thought I'd just quickly show you how we do the tweeters. So this is an OEM tweeter fit that we do in a Scania R-Series, and it uses the Hertz C26 Cento tweeter. And quite handily, this actually clips into the OEM pillar without any modification to the pillar at all. So we remove the 230 Torxes and get the pillar out, and the standard tweeter sits in there, comes down to around here, and it has a connector like that inside the cab. So what we do is remove the tweeter, and we sell this kit online if you want to do this yourself as well, or you can come to us for your expert installation by us here at Trucking Sounds. So I'm connecting up this tweeter. We connect it to its filter so it doesn't receive any bass frequencies that will blow the tweeter. I'm then going to tidy up the ends of this wire and attach them to this little clip here, so we can clip the tweeter into the truck and retain the OEM connection, making this really, really straightforward to put back to standard if Aaron ever wants to sell the truck but keep his audio gear. So I've put some connectors onto the end of the tweeter cable here, and we'll strip down using the fancy wire strippers the ends of the OEM tweeter cable so we can pop this into the other side of these connectors, and it means that we utilize that factory plug on the aftermarket tweeter, but if you ever want to change it, really simple to put back. And if you're watching this video and you've bought one of our tweeter kits for your very own R-Series and you're installing it yourself at home, then colours on these wires, blue is positive, grey is negative. I'm sure many of you know that, but just a very quick reminder, make sure you get those wires the right way around. You don't want any tweeters out of phase, they will sound really, really strange. So a lovely secure connection, we'll just apply a little bit of heat to that to make sure that this plastic shrinks round nice and tight, and then we'll tape these connections up so that they look nice and tidy and that they're also nice and sturdy. While we wait for that other tweeter's connections to cool off before taping them up nice and neatly, connect up these. So as I mentioned, if you buy one of our R-Series speaker kits, this is the tweeter you'll get, the Hertz C26 Cento tweeter. It's one of Hertz's fantastic entry-level tweeters. Really good price point, but a really fantastic sound. These little clips can be a little bit resistant sometimes. Fiddly, but really straightforward connections. If you're going to trim the wire down like I have, you must make sure that you leave this little filter in there. Otherwise, you'll end up with a blown tweeter. These wire strippers make everything an absolute breeze. So I've just connected up some connectors to the other tweeter, but this one has now cooled, so we'll get off a little bit of fabric tape, tape those connections up, make them look nice and tidy, and then we'll install it into the pillar and get back in the truck. And there we have it, a lovely clean connection, fabric taped up, but retaining that OEM connection. So this tweeter now is ready to go in the pillar. And there we have it, that tweeter is now clipped in there, retaining the OEM factory clips. And on this side, you don't see anything, so a nice factory look. So back up in the truck, the OEM connector I'm talking about is this one just here. It's not got a lot of length on it, which is why it's a good idea to retain it, but leave plenty of length on the tweeter wire, as the tweeter sits roughly about there. So then we'll go ahead and connect up our new upgraded tweeter. Try not to block this on camera so you can see, but the connector just slides over and pushes, and it will only go in one way, so you get the polarity of those connections right. So that is our new upgraded tweeter connected using that OEM connector within the Scania R-Series, and then all we need to do is bundle up the wiring carefully and put our pillar back into place and screw it in. And there we have it, pillar back in. There's a slight bulge in this pillar where Aaron's run a microwave cable, he said, behind there, so it's not to worry. But that tweeter is in there, both screws back in, and you still have that complete factory look, but with an upgraded tweeter. So now it's onto the doors. But before we go anywhere near those doors, I just need to do the tweeter in this pillar as well. And over here, Ant's working on the amp rack. We've got the 5-channel amp to run the main speakers, and the Venetia V1 mono amp to run the subwoofers. Nice tidy amp right there. Having fun?
Yeah, love it. Love it. It's on a Friday.
Bit of built, not bought. So now it's time to move on to the doors. Now, in true fashion, resonant, resonant. So we need to sort that out, and the way obviously we'll do it is skin sound deadening. So I'm going to wind the window up, put some inside there around where the speaker will be, and put a little bit around here as well, and we'll get rid of these rivet bits ready for our custom tracking sound adapter to go on there with a brand new speaker in, and it'll be a much more solid acoustic environment with that sound deadening. So step number one before we put any sound deadening inside this door is to use a bit of brake cleaner on the inside of the door and give it a brief wipe down. Brake cleaner gets rid of any greases, any dirt inside there, which will interfere with the adhesive on the sound deadeners. We want that to stick nice and strong to the door and make the door a lot more dense than it is without it, to make sure that the speakers sound better. See that? That is exactly what I'm talking about. That would stop the sound deadening from sticking. But now we've got a nice grease-free and clean environment in there. Perfect to put the sound deadening on. So I'm going to put this sheet of skins in there, nice dense, like an aluminium layered sound deadening. Pop it through this little hole here to fold it through, and then roller it in there. Make sure it's rolled on properly, and Aaron's doors will be nice and deadened. So I've broken this sound deadening down into two bits, as it will make it easier to apply into the truck. So put the first bit through here. Very sticky, as you can see. It's already adhered to the door. We need to try and get it a little bit better than that. Then get our roller and roll it on. So that's the first half of sound deadening. We'll now get that second strip of it in. Just work it with my hands. It just makes it easy. We can get a better adhesion in there. Check that it's not interfering with anything as well, such as the window coming down. And then we'll get our roller on it. And roller that in. Sound deadening, I can't stress the importance of. It makes the door a far stronger acoustic environment for a speaker to operate in. And if you bolt a really good Hertz speaker to a really flimsy door like this one from Scania, the door just flaps, it resonates, it vibrates, and you're losing energy that your ears should be hearing from that speaker into the door. So the door becomes a resonant speaker. It doesn't play music, it just plays buzzes, rattles, and nasty noises and sounds which our ears don't like. So if we roll a bit of sound deadening in there and deaden, in this case locally, around where we're putting the speaker, it makes that door far more solid, and that means that we shouldn't get any rattles, any buzzes, and the speaker has a better environment to operate. If you fully deaden the whole doors, the cab and everything, it does also make the interior quieter. Something like this won't necessarily quieten down the interior, but it will make the speaker's performance far better, even just with a little bit around the edges and a bit behind the speaker, as again, it's improving the environment it works in. Good speakers are one thing, but a good environment for those good speakers to work in is definitely another, and it's an important other thing as well. So adapter number one is fastened on, and now we're going to get the speaker, put the cable in for the speaker, and then deaden over here. But we mustn't deaden there, or there, or there, because that's where the door card slots, and otherwise we won't be able to get it back on. But that's a far better environment already for the speaker to work in. So now that we've got our adapter fastened and got sound deadening in the door, I'm going to pop a little bit of cable through so we can actually power and run our speakers with this connector down here. We'll then fit the speakers onto the adapters, and we've got better sound in a door, just like that. And there we have it, a bit of localised deadening around that adapter as well, just to make the door a little bit more solid. So our custom Trucking Sounds R-Series Scania speaker adapters are now fitted to each of the doors, along with some sound deadening. The subwoofers we're using in this build are the Hertz CS300s. These are the Cento 12-inch subs, really nice 12-inch sub there. And it's built into our custom ported enclosure and port out behind the seats. So as I mentioned, the Scania adapter rings are on, and if you look very carefully across the other side, the speaker is on there. Ant's already scoped the amps, so they're all set up, and he's just putting all the speakers onto the inputs. However, I just need to put in the speaker this side, and then we're actually practically done with the system. And then I'll show you the amp rack as well. And there we have it, the custom Trucking Sounds R-Series Scania adapter with the Hertz Cento CX165 speaker in there, all with the sound deadening around it, nice and tidy. These are going to sound a million times better than the awful standard speakers. Well, definitely going to sound better when you consider that the motor has come off the speaker. So you'll have to excuse the background noises, we've obviously got other work going on as well, but the amp rack is in, and it's not obviously fully wired up yet because there's another 12-inch sub to go in here. We fired up the system just with one sub in and one speaker, and it already sounds fantastic. So now that it's got both speakers inside, Ant's putting some in the rear, and just getting these amplifiers set up and installed, it's going to sound a lot better, and it also will look a lot better as well once there's a sub in here. There's that V1 mono amp to run the subwoofers, and there's the HCP5MD, our commonly used 5-channel amp, to run the rest of the speakers. Sounds fantastic, looks really, really tidy. And there we have it, the second 12-inch sub is inside the passenger side locker. Fits nice and neat and tight amongst those amps, and we even left room for Aaron's power inverter to go on there as well, so we can still retain full functionality within his cab that he had before we did the audio install. Just like that, Aaron's R520 V8 is now complete. It's got two 12-inch subs in there, doors, upgraded tweeters, 2 amps, and that's all wired into his aftermarket head unit. So let's go take a look. So when Aaron came to us, all he had in the Scania was this Sony aftermarket head unit, which certainly helps with the quality when installing an aftermarket system, but we've gone and taken the system to the level it really deserves to be. So hidden away behind all of these things in this side locker is one of the Hertz CS300 12-inch subs in that ported box, and that ports out behind the driver's seat. In each door on our custom adapters I showed you earlier in the video, the Hertz CX165, that's the 6.5-inch Cento coaxial door speaker. They sound absolutely mega, really loud, really clear. If we climb on up inside the cab, inside the pillars in that OEM location, again as I showed you earlier in the video, Hertz Cento C26 tweeters. They're on the OEM plug as well, but obviously powered by the aftermarket amplifier. The bit that I didn't show you in the video is we just didn't really have time to today, we needed to crack on. These fantastic CX165s again at the back of the cab in a very OEM style. They're on nice adapter rings which we've custom made here at Trucking Sounds, but they've got red glow on them and they look absolutely awesome. They just add a really nice bit of spice to the back wall in Aaron's truck. And then in this locker, as you can see, he's still got a little bit of storage room in there, another 12-inch sub, the HCP5MD 5-channel mono amp, and that 1260 watt Venetia V1 mono amp, which sounds absolutely mega, and that powers both those subwoofers, gives them plenty of guts. And just like our previous video, all that's left to do now is take a listen. And there you have it, just like that, Aaron's audio in his R520 V8 has been absolutely, completely transformed. He drove in here this morning with nothing but standard Scania audio and he really wasn't very happy with it at all. And now he's about to drive away this afternoon, much, much happier with a big smile on his face, thanks to 2 12-inch subs, some backwall speakers, some door speakers, upgraded tweeters, and 2 Hertz amplifiers, all supplied and fitted by us here at Trucking Sounds. And if you want your truck to look and sound just like this one, all you've got to do is get in contact with us today. All the details will be in the description of this video. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. We've got some more exciting install work coming and more exciting news to come on the fire engine as well. In fact, some very exciting news, so make sure you stick around and stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification bell, and then we'll see you in the next video.